Hello, 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 and good evening. Welcome, everybody. I am Nerdhala, aka Kate Squires. I just wanted to welcome everybody in for the premiere episode of my podcast, Out of Character. Here we interview character creators about their processes, influences, inspiration, what kind of projects they're working on, all sorts of stuff, how these characters get brought to life. And we have a special guest today. We have Deevgart, who I know here from Twitch, and also another artist and maker in the community. Let me go ahead and bring her in.
Ayo.
Hello. Welcome, welcome.
Okay, I gotta mute the actual stream. There we
Yeah.
go.
Well, why don't you go ahead and start by introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your background in character creation.
Yeah, well, I go by D usually on Twitch, given
Okay.
the URL. So we'll go with that. And I'm an animator. I just finished my animation degree at Cal State Fullerton. So I do a lot of work with characters, but it's mostly through paper, quote unquote. I work digitally, but it's still done the same way as like traditional hand-drawn animation that would be done on paper. And I also, during the spooky season, I act as spooky characters. So I've got a little bit of that under my belt as well.
Awesome. So you do acting, animation, you've done cosplay in the past. What
Yeah, a little
was
bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
What was like one of the first characters you remember playing or creating? And how old were you when you did that?
Oh man, I would say the first character I vividly remember making and being proud of was this OC, and it was a Sonic OC, and her name is Monarch, and I still have her in my arsenal of characters to this day. She's just no longer a Sonic OC, but she's still Monarch, and she's still based after a silly little butterfly, and I still love her. So that was I think I was like 11, like maybe like 10 or 11 when I was watching Sonic X every week on 4Kids, and I was just like obsessed, and I had to make myself an OC.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Uh, what is probably your like favorite character that you've created or played thus far, and what would be your least favorite and why?
I was thinking my favorite at the moment is probably Asia from the comic that I work on with my friend, Extraordinarily Strange. And I think it's just because she is probably one of the most dynamic characters that I've come up with, and like with the help of the story that we're making, like she's developed into like just like her arc, man, it's so good. I can't say that much, but her arc is one of like my favorite developments for any of the OCs that I've had. Monarch is probably my other favorite just because I've had her for so long, and now she's not a Sonic OC. She has her own little universe and stuff too. Um,
Isn't
but
that
Asia's
great?
definitely, yeah, it's like she's been with me for at least a decade now. She's literally grown up with me, which I think is super fun.
That's the great thing about characters and like developing them and kind of reimagining them over time and
Yeah, when you
whatnot.
learn what copyright is, and that you probably shouldn't make your Sonic OC in the in the same IP as that. Like you should come up
Yeah.
with your own thing, which it was a good thing that I learned that at
Yeah.
12-ish probably.
What would you say is probably your least favorite?
Oh man, I do have a least favorite character that I've played, like acted as. Uh, Maybe not necessarily that I've made. I still like my OCs in some way, even if they make me cringe. But as far as acting goes, there was a character I had to play for a Winter Guard show. And that's basically, for people that don't know, there's marching band season, and then during the off season when they're not at the football games, well, the sections break off and compete in their own areas. So the color guard, the flag people, as people usually recognize them, actually have their own little competition season, and we do shows, and we perform to a track or something like that. And my freshman years, this was my first winter guard season. Our direction was just horrible, and we had to be our character was supposed to be like memories of like this soldier because we had one guy. So of course our one guy was like the main character because he was the one guy and he was a soldier and we were like past memories or people or whatever. And the show just made no sense. The song was Hero by Enrique Iglesias.
Oh man.
I could never listen to that song. I hear the first little guitar strum and I'm like, turn it off. That song is banned. Because it was just, oh my gosh, we didn't know what we were doing that entire time. So that was my least favorite character to perform as, for sure.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit more about the comic that you were talking about. Like, what is the premise, and how long have you been working on that?
Yeah, so it's Extraordinarily Strange is the title. We actually started it like over the pandemic. It
Cool.
was just a project that we started kind of developing more and working on because we had nothing else to do. And it was me, and the creator is Kenzie Crow on Instagram. It's like Kenzie double underscore Crow. I could put it in the chat too.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
but
hold
so
on.
she,
Let me make sure
it's
you've got
her
permission to.
story. Yeah. So it's her story that she introduced it to me, and she was like, "If you want to make an OC, like here's some info." And I was like, "Okay, cool. Like let's try to come up with a character." And I came up with Asia, and so she is a she's been raised in like the main death cult antagonist characters, like in that realm, with the other main character, Kenzie's character, Viries. And so it's this like fantasy adventure horror type of story. It starts in this death cult and it's eventually gonna venture out into like the way Viries is navigating his life because he's still got like this push and pull as to whether he's like actually committed or not, and he's getting this promotion, so it's like, uh-oh, like this cult stuff's getting pretty deep. What are you gonna do, boy? And Asia's the one who's like raised next to him, but she's always been skeptical. Like she's still a good person. She just has no choice but to exist there and do what they say.
That sound
And so they're gonna butt heads a little bit, and it's gonna be a fun time.
is that available for people to like view online eventually, or
Yeah, the first two chapters are actually up on Webtoon right now, and we're working on chapter three.
feel free
I
to
can
drop
put
your
the
links.
yeah, let me put the Instagram in there because I don't have the Webtoon link, but the Webtoon link is on the Instagram bio. So, oh my gosh, there was like a moth that just flew right in my face. I love that.
Curse you, bugs! Curse you!
Yeah, so the Webtoon link is on the Instagram. We're working on chapter three slowly but surely. It's taken a while because we've been doing a lot of um like development on the style and how to break down the chapters and post them and things like that, but it's gonna be worth it because it's getting better as we go. We're just figuring it out as we go, and that's why it takes forever, but we are working on it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about some of like your influences and like places that you take inspiration from when creating characters, or if there's like any particular like people that have influenced you or whatnot.
Yeah, I would say the first person I recognized like for their art was Tim Burton, and like I watched
Yes.
The Nightmare Before Christmas, I think when I was still watching Sonic X. I was about 10 or 11. And that was the movie that made it click. I had this really silly belief as a kid that like movies existed on the DVD, and when you put the little DVD in the DVD player, that it's just the characters are like in there acting out the movie
That's
whenever you play it.
adorable.
Yeah. And so I don't know why or how, but for some reason The Nightmare Before Christmas like made it click that somebody made this and that like it was something that I could do too. And so I looked up Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas or something. I just started doing research on Tim Burton and I really liked his art. And it was also that point where I was trying to break out of my anime phase and like explore a couple of new things and like make up my own style basically. And he really did do it for me. Like to this day, I still get the most excited when I find Tim Burton stuff. We went to
I
his
love
most
Tim
recent
Burton too.
show. Yeah, we went to his most recent show in the United States was in Vegas, and he did an
Yes.
installation at the Neon Graveyard
Yes,
where
I
all the
saw all
old
sorts
neon
of.
signs. Yeah, so we went to that, and it was just so cool because he had his installations, but there was also a like a little dome where they had an exhibit. And so he had like some new Vegas themed drawings and stuff. And like the little kid in me was just like, ah, like this is so cool. It was all back again. And my dragon puppet is shedding all over me, so I'm gonna put it there. I think it
Sorry,
was actually a
Pepe.
feather that flew into my face, not a moth. Or both, who knows?
Feather moths. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like your creation process, whether designing a character for animation or developing a character for spooky season?
Yeah, for animation, um, it really is a mix of like pulling from the things that are directly around me and things that I like, and even just kind of sometimes listening to mood music or something and drawing to the music. Like, music is something that has always really got like my creative juices flowing. Like, it's probably because of marching band. Like, I've always performed
Band
to
nerds for
music.
life.
Yes, always, man. It's always in the music. Even before marching band, I did gymnastics, which you still on floor
Oh,
routine you
yeah.
perform to music and things like that. So I do tend to perform to music very well, and that's the same thing when I'm trying to like come up with a character. If I have music on, it's a lot easier to come up with ideas than it is to not have the music playing. And if I'm doing like a stage performance, I always feel like the most hyped when there's choreography or dance involved. Even for like the
Yes.
upcoming haunt season, I have a character that I'm developing that's like very dance heavy because of marching band. It's all circling back. Like I have all these across the floor dance moves that I could be using that I haven't used in years because I haven't performed since like right out of high school when it comes to color guard, but I still know how to do those dance moves. So that's like kind of a very loose version of choreography for me that I'm gonna be tying into that character and things like that.
Awesome. Nice. Uh, how, how I'm trying to figure out how to ask this. Um, a lot of the time when creating characters, we like to put ourselves into the characters in some way or take a piece of ourselves and incorporate that into the character. How have you how have you done that? Or what are some examples of you doing that in some of your work?
This is the funnest question ever because it's like you don't even realize it sometimes. You really don't. So when you sent me this question, I was really thinking it over because I there was some that I knew like right off the bat. I was like, okay, Monarch is like my opposite. She's super extroverted, like she's the extrovert I wish I could be, and she is built for conflict, and I hate conflict. And I avoid it. I'm like, no, I don't want any beef with you guys. Everything's fine, but Monarch will fight you and she will do it like that. Whereas, I think the one that was really subconscious to me that I didn't realize like how much of myself I put into her until you sent me that question was
Hmm.
Asia. And I was like, oh my gosh, Asia is definitely like the tough face that I put on at the gas station because I grew up in a rougher town, but like under the tough face, I'm actually really chill and I'm a very soft person. and I don't like having to be the bad guy. Like that was definitely a subconscious thing. I didn't go into it thinking that. But she hates being the bad guy. She literally wears a mask to that has like a stone cold grimace on it. Like that's her little cult nickname is Grimace because she just
Nice.
does that to like conceal don't feel. Like that's what she does. So there's those two instances. And I feel like in general with villains, they're usually some kind of flaw that I have, but like blown entirely out of the water. Just exaggerated into like that's their main feature. So it's already exaggerated in itself. And then you take that and you're like, okay, how can I make this just the worst person? You know?
Like, what are some examples of the villains you've created?
Uh, I would say I know there's one who is in Monarch's story, and she's basically just like an evil queen that I always wanted to make up because it's a fairy tale type of a story. But she has a lot of my passive aggressiveness. Like I'm super passive if I get out of control with it. And so she is also very passive. She doesn't really do things head on. She works behind the scenes and she's like kind of a sabotager, which are things that I really try not to do. So I just put it all on her. I'm like, no, you can do those things. But I'm
That's
not doing that.
great.
So we have the outlet now, and it's you. Like you are the passive sabotage lady,
That is a
not
great way to
me.
look at it.
Yeah. And I think it's a really fun way to kind of like assess those pieces of ourselves because we all have our bad traits, right? But like
Oh.
they're never really quite gonna go away. But it's a more healthy way to kind of like process what they are and how they could act out and the consequences that could come from them in like a safe space.
Uh, how have characters that you've created uh, impacted you or your life either positively or negatively?
I would say I don't know about characters that I've created because
Or played?
mostly or played, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff that I come up with is stuff that has influenced me from somewhere else. I mean, animation in general just gets me very emotionally moved. And I think that makes me want to make other stories that I'm hoping can also move people. I don't really have a specific example
That's okay.
of that. Yeah. I'm just emotional and animation makes me happy.
What are some of your favorite projects and stuff that you've created while you were in school? Or like what are some examples of things that like maybe pushed you out of your comfort zone in terms of your process but ended up having cool results?
Oh man, my last semester this year, I had to direct a film. So I had to actually trust other animators with my characters, and that was interesting
Oh
because I
wow.
knew that that was going to be a situation if I ever like pitched a cartoon to somewhere. When you're pitching, you're selling it to the studio that you're pitching it to. So if they pick it up, it's not yours anymore. It's the studio's and you're just directing the end result. So you still have, in a healthy studio setting, you would still have creative control over that thing, but at the end, the IP now belongs to them. And so it kind of was a test run of that because first day out we pitched our animatics that we made the semester beforehand and we all picked like the top 3 2D films that we wanted to make and anybody that was involved in 3D they had to like fight for whatever 3D film they wanted to make. We couldn't cross over because we had to have all the 2D people in one corner and then all of the 3D people over in theirs because they need all the help they can get. And so we split up into 3 different films, and my film was one of the top 3 that got picked to get finished.
Oh,
So I had,
congratulations.
yeah, I became a director for the class in that moment, and I was like, okay, I have to make a bazillion references to make sure that my team can animate my characters the way I need them to, and trusting them with that process it was actually pretty fun because, it really taught me a lot about things that I can use again in the future if I want to come up with another film and like maybe get some help on it. and things like that. But it was definitely like nerve-wracking at first when we had like the first thing we had to do was a stress test where we each picked a an easy shot and we had to do everything. We did like the background, the animation, and all that jazz to see who could do what. And it was like at that point I had to decide who can do what based on the stress test. And I was
Oh,
like, oh man,
wow.
I didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings or anything like that. But I'm like, I want to make sure that I have to give you guys things that you can actually do because some of you can animate the characters and some of you cannot. Like,
Yeah.
it's just point blank. Some of you are better coloring them in or doing a background or something like that. So it was an interesting process for sure, having to like put that piece of myself in the hands of like three other people. But the result was awesome. It was that film that I just posted like a couple of weeks ago, Holy
Mm.
Spirit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was that film.
Very cool. Let me see. Where did you posted that to Discord, right?
It's on my Instagram.
It's on your Instagram. Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm gonna pull that up and see if we. Would you
And
be okay if I
sometime
shared
on
it?
YouTube. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Let's see. All right. I'm gonna switch over to another screen here for a second so we can watch. Oop, wrong thing. That's not helpful. There we go.
The stream portal.
Stream portal, streamception. That is so cute.
Thank you.
Oop.
Yeah, like the number one thing
Oop.
that we really had to get down on for that film was making it look consistent. Like that was the thing the professor would just not shut up about the entire semester. He was like, consistency, 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 like which did help because I didn't have to be the one to tell them to draw more in my style if they were kind of veering off from it. Like the professor had that all handled for me. I was like, follow the character sheet, all that good stuff. And
Nice.
it came out pretty dang consistent. When we were watching it at the end, everyone was like, dang, man, we did that. We did that.
So, how long did it take for that to be put together?
It took we had 57 shots total, and the semester is 15 weeks long. So we were
Ooh.
doing, I think the schedule was 4 shots a week, not like individually, but as like all together, we
Mm,
had to get 4 shots a week done.
crazy. All right, back to my list somewhere. Boop. So, what would be a dream character or IP for or person, studio, director for you to either create for or play? And you can
Oh
expand on
man.
this as much as you want.
Oh, gladly. Gladly, man. So I have like two dream projects, and I'm trying to find them because I wrote them down. I was like, yes, fun questions. Okay, like the number one dream project that I would drop everything to do is a movie that is the Book of Esther in the Bible, but like with the approach of DreamWorks Prince of Egypt.
Ooh,
It
interesting.
would blow me away because Prince of Egypt is like one of my favorite Bible themed anything ever. And I just it's not like I am a Christian and I know there is some corny freaking Christian movies out there, but Prince of Egypt is just done so well and it's so well researched and it's just freaking beautiful and I'm like why did they stop doing that? Like we got a lower budget movie about Joseph, and then that was it. I was like, these are a gold mine, and I would love to see more of them. And Esther is my favorite, like Old Testament story, and it's a super cinematic story in itself. And I think it's just a really good character for the time, with Esther being like chosen to be queen, and then she was like, I didn't sign up for this, but she like kind of rises up and saves her people, even though she was just kind of like thrown into this situation. And it would just be so much fun, I think. If somebody was ever to be like, hey, we need a 2D revival movie and you're directing it, what are we doing? I'm like, okay, buckle up. Anybody that worked on Prince of Egypt, get in here. We need you.
So if
And
you, oh, go ahead.
yeah, and number two, the
Mm.
other dream project is entirely different. It is a 2D kids series reboot of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh my god.
It would just be so good. It would translate so well into animation, and I don't
I
know
think
why
it would
nobody has
too.
done that yet. It's already a cartoon in itself, but if you could make it like a kids action series cartoon, it would be so cool.
If you could have any artist or animator animate your life as a show or a movie, who would you have do it?
Ooh, that's a good one. My brain wants to say Tim Burton by default
Yeah,
because I think that would be pretty funny. Like he's got a really good balance of like he could do a dark film or he could do a
very
very like
whimsical.
bright and silly film. He's got range, you know?
Yeah.
But I think if I were picking like a 2D traditional animation type of approach, I would probably choose Glenn Keane.
Ooh.
Yes. For people that don't know, he was the animator on like The Little Mermaid,
Mhm.
Tarzan, Tangled, all that jazz. He is I really love his stuff too. He's up there in the favorites as well.
Nice. Top three people you would want to animate for if they were directing, other than Tim Burton.
Oh man. Let's see. It's so hard to think of like off the top of my head because
Or like
recently,
if you don't even necessarily have a name, be like whoever was running this show, or like I would love to team up with the people behind Avatar and Legend of Korra,
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, okay, that makes it easier. Um,
or
but maybe,
like studios or whatever.
yeah, I would really like, the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and
Yes!
I would
I just
love.
started rewatching that with a friend of mine.
Oh my gosh, I want to rewatch it so bad. Like that is so funny, but I want shows like that to come back. So shows like Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy and Invader Zim and Samurai
Yes!
Jack and like those just grittier, older
The
like
classic
yeah, like
Cartoon Network,
the
Adult
classic
Swim.
Cartoon Network needs to come back. I miss classic Cartoon Network so much.
I
And
I agree.
any of those people wanna team up. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes.
Jendi Tartakovsky,
Yes. Yes.
Yoan Vasquez, like
Yeah.
any of them, just bring it.
Yeah. Craig McCracken too.
Ooh.
He's great. Powerpuff Girls,
Yes.
Foster's Home. I think his most recent one was Wander Over Yonder, and that is like hands down one of my favorite
I don't know
recent
that one.
cartoons on the face of the planet. It's so cute.
Wander Over Yonder.
It's
What's
just
that
the
one about?
most pure thing, and like I found it in a time where I really needed a cartoon that was just a cartoon. Like it's not trying to send a message, it's just storytelling, and Wander was perfect. It was so good. You just got your happy little space nomad trying to be friends with everybody, and I
Oh wait,
vibed
no,
with
I
it
think I have
so
seen
much.
that.
Yeah.
The guy with little
It's on
hat.
Disney. It's on Disney Plus now if you have it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I think
it's
I've
the best.
totally seen that. Yeah. All right. Final question, unless after this we wanna open it up to chat if they've got questions. But my final question is, what kind of future projects or endeavors do you have going on? I mean, you've mentioned the comic. Now that
Yeah,
you've graduated, what are you
I
doing?
know. I have all this free time. Not really, but um, I do want to make more animation on my own for YouTube, definitely, because I really do like making those short films and stuff that we had to make for school. And I already showcase a lot of my animation on YouTube anyway. So recently I started getting into the little niche that is animation memes. And so that's like little trends of like a popular song, somebody animated to, and then everybody else kind of like follows suit and does their own version of their animation to that song. And they're just so cute.
Like a do this in your style kind
Yeah,
of thing.
kind of. Yeah. And so I did my own. I didn't start off with a trend. I just kind of picked a song that I liked and did my own recently. It came out on Sunday. And it's been performing pretty good. So I'm excited because I have like a couple of trends picked out that I've started, and they're so much fun to make. And because it's a thing that goes with music. So I'm like in my element. I'm like,
There
yes,
you
we are
go.
animating to music. This is it. But I have that, and I am working on a new short film that is also going to be based around music, but it's actually going to be like a film and not like a little character dancing and stuff like that. It's going to be to Vera Lynn's "We'll Meet Again."
Oh.
And that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's the teaser there. So,
If there was like an epic song you would love to animate for, what would it be?
ooh, I feel like I've told myself a million times whenever I'm listening to a song, like, oh, this would be such a cool song to animate to, and then I don't remember what that song was by the time I get out of the car. There's like I'll just be listening to my Spotify and a song will come on. The "We'll Meet Again" thing is actually the first time I've committed. I can
Nice.
say that. Like "We'll Meet Again" was playing on the radio, and I will say I was thinking about zombie apocalypses, and I was like, "Ooh, that would be interesting." And I actually wrote it down, and I was like, "I could do that. I could make that short film happen. Like that's an easy one." So as of right now, it's "We'll Meet Again."
Cool. Very cool. All right, let's go ahead and open it up to chat here for a couple minutes, see if anybody else has any questions, but that's all I've got for me. Um, I don't know, is there anything else you wanted to talk about in terms of characters while we're seeing if chat's got anything?
We can wait up on chat. I don't have anything like specific in mind.
Do you have any characters that you can show off on hand, or well, I
Ooh.
guess I could go back to your Instagrams.
That is true.
Talk about.
Let me see. Let me see what I can open real quick. If I can press the
Ooh,
right button.
would you consider a gender reversed Return of the Jedi animated series?
Ooh, yes, I think I would consider that.
I know I would.
That would be fun. The sequels are not entirely my jam, but animated Star Wars has been like just popping lately.
Yeah.
I will say it's been really great. Like all the new stuff coming out, it's been awesome.
Yeah, I still need to see Bad Batch.
Yeah, me too. I still need to like
I
watch
still
all
need
of
to watch.
Clone Wars.
Yeah,
I need to
same.
watch Clone Wars. I've gotten a good ways into season one, but we
Clone Wars, Rebels.
love ADHD and trying to watch shows. We love it.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about. Squirrels?
All these shows I said I was gonna watch, and I watched like 2 episodes, and my brain's like, "Yeah, you watched it. There's
Ain't,
not
ain't,
50,000 episodes left to go. You watched it."
yeah. I'm trying to think if I have any other like, hmm. What is an animation trend that you think is kind of overrated?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have never even thought about this, but I do remember like maybe 2015, 2016, the whole CalArt style tea that was going down on like Tumblr. That tea in general is overrated because I feel like there has always been a set style trend in animation even before the whole Steven Universe and Gravity Falls look the same argument came out. Like, have you seen the 90s on Nickelodeon? They were all ugly.
Yeah, they were.
That's just they were all ugly.
Look
They
at
were
our
all the
real
same
monsters.
brand. Yeah, they were all the same brand of ugly. And then early 2000s, they were all like getting better, you know?
Well,
Even
and as
when
technology got better
animation,
too.
yeah, when animation first started, you had like the rubber hose style. That wasn't just Disney, that was everybody else too.
What's the rubber hose style?
So, it's like Cuphead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that old vintage animation style. It
Gotcha.
wasn't
I didn't know
set
there was
to
a term for
one.
that.
Yeah, it's called rubber hose.
That's awesome.
And that was happening in every studio. But it wasn't like, oh, everybody that came from CalArts draws the same way. I was like, well, no, that's just what's hot right now, and you can't really get over it. It's gonna happen. I would
Uh,
say that's some tea that was pretty overrated. People got way too up in arms about it. It's just a style. It'll pass eventually. Like we're already starting to see kind of a newer one start to emerge, I would say, like with stuff like Bad Batch and Clone Wars and like the new What If Marvel series that's coming
yes.
out.
Or like
That kind
Into
of
the
anime.
Spider Verse. That was one that
Yeah, like that kind of
absolutely blew me away.
that blend of 3D and 2D, I think is going to be the next thing. It really does seem like it's going in that direction. You
Just
can get those for $30
books
at
the
the store.
store.
Yeah, man. I mean, that's why it went out of style.
All right. Any other questions from chat? We'll open it up again. Otherwise, we'll see. I think that's about it. I thank you so much for coming on. This has been awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. Thanks for reaching out.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, thank
I
you.
guess I could drop my link,
Yeah, go ahead, drop
plug
some links.
plug my stuff. I have a
Your
link that
Instagram,
has
your
everything on it. Yeah,
your
my happy
Instagram, your
little link
Ko-fi.
tree thing.
Yes.
This has everything y'all need to know. This happy little link right here. It's got all the things. I do animate on Twitch. So Twitch is where I work on stuff,
Oh
and
yeah.
then
Here,
YouTube
let
is
me
where
go
the
ahead and
final product goes. Yeah. And Instagram exists, but I don't like it. So Twitch and YouTube. Nobody
Totally
likes
fair.
Instagram these days, though.
Yeah.
We're just there now. We're just stuck there.
Yup. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming. Feel free to come back if you want to talk again. Once you've got more projects and
Yeah.
stuff going to the work, we can always do like, I don't know, if we're still doing this in a year, have you come back and tell us where you're at that point. But
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that'd be fun. If it happens, it
All
happens, you know?
All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much again, Dee. Have a great night. Thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out, and we'll hopefully be back here. I hope to start doing this monthly. The third Thursday of the month at 7 is when we'll be continuing from here on out. Today was kind of a special occasion just for schedules.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so
Hey, thank you
you're
for the
welcome.
follow.
Yep. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.